and welcome back to Sarah's Spare Corner. My name is Sarah. I am the host of Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah's Spare Corner encompasses gaming as well as arts, crafts, and various different forms of creativity. Additionally, I like sharing theories, concepts, and ideas as I am a philosophy major. And when I'm not poor, I might travel places and I might post about it. A couple of weeks ago, I posted a video of where I was making a Halloween-styled garland where I covered rope in sphagnum moss and used a bunch of fake flowers from the Dollar Tree. Today, I am working on something where I was shopping for Halloween decorations. I was in Michael's. I saw a thing and I was like, yeah, I could make that at home. I'm not spending my money on that. So I bought 2 different types of ribbons. I bought some black pom-poms. And I bought some yarn. Not yarn. A sewing kit. And I bought thread. That's what I was looking for, the word. And, so then here comes the idea, basically. I think I was in the middle of recording another video while doing this. I think I was recording a video that should be coming out next week. So if there's a ton of blank pauses at the beginning, that's just straight up why. But regardless, oh yeah, no, actually, I think I remember now. I was recording The Craft. So this is a different film. There is another film coming out next week that I reviewed. For Halloween, of course. Anyways, so the concept that Michael's had was a bunch of bows, all stringed together by thread. What was that word again? In a row. And it's just one long trail. And I saw that and I was like, why would I pay for a string of bows when I can just make something like that at home? So that is the concept of this one, but I wanted to do something different because theirs was just a straight row of orange bows, and I was like, I'm gonna do 2 different colors, you know, big crazy here. Now this is the only bow I make like this because I realized that it's actually a bad idea to do it this way, and it doesn't actually look very authentic to bows. So I did all my other bows quite different. This is the only one that I did that, and now I'm actually, you know, just tying the bows properly and, you know, occasionally talking to the camera because I'm recording another video. Multitasking, my friends. Anyways. So, each bow I individually wrapped, and honestly, there isn't really much to say about this. This isn't, like, really hard, but I want to say something about this. I think the difference between what person feels safe to do and what not all comes down to their overthinking. And I could be very wrong about this, but, you know, wrapping bows and tying them together with thread isn't actually that hard to do. But I think because I've had several years of Halloween crafts, I felt a little bit brave to easily just tackle this. Again, very simple craft. Like, it's really not that hard at all. The only thing I did here was just glue certain pieces together to make sure that the bow doesn't fall apart and making sure that the bow sits nice and proper. Because even though the yellow bows have wire in them, the orange are just regular ribbon. And then I sectioned them off here just to make sure that they're the right size and what I was looking for. And I rewrapped them several times to make sure that I was wrapping them properly. But between you and me, I think anyone can do this. This is actually quite simple, and I honestly thought that seeing that thing at Michael's that was just a row of bows, it was like a garland of bows, I saw that and I was like, that's just a straight up ripoff. Now, you know, maybe that just comes down to, like, if it's a ripoff because you can afford it, right? Like, if you can afford it, then is it really a ripoff? I don't know. Like, if Jeff Bezos is decorating his house with Halloween decorations, and he can easily just afford the entire store of Michael's and still have leftover money, is it really a ripoff? I don't know. Leave a comment down below to the answer to that question. I'm also recording this at like 12 o'clock at night, so if it's not very sensical of what I'm saying, totally cool. Anyways, so my plan was to first start with all the bows. So I've got my hot glue gun out here because I'm gluing the individual pieces together. not individual pieces together. I'm gluing the bows so that they don't get unstuck. And at some point, something occurs to me where I'm like, well, I definitely need to like singe the edges of these bows as well, because the last thing I want, pardon me, is for them to go like start fraying. So I do deal with that at some point. But for now, we're just cutting and pasting kind of thing. And then, yeah, so my concept for this was that each bow would be alternate. So there'd be a yellow bow, then an orange, then a yellow, then an orange, and then in between each one would be a black pom-pom. This was not what Michael's had. Michael's had, again, just a string of orange bows, but I decided to make mine unique because why not? I'm making it, right? I think, honestly, the only reason why this took as long as it did is because I was in the middle of making another video while doing this. But to be fair, it was quite tedious. Repetitive. Yeah, see, here I'm just talking again. So, obviously, I was watching another movie. I think I was, though, waiting for the glue to dry. Now, I don't have a heavy-duty glue gun. So, the risks of me burning my hands was very minimal, but I recently bought a heavy-duty glue gun from work, and I did burn my hand. So keep that in mind if you decide to buy a hot glue gun anytime soon. But back to this. I think when it comes to creating anything or morphing into your own, because if you think about it this way, technically I stole Michael's idea, right, to make a garland out of bows. I say garland because that's not actually the proper term, but you know what I mean. A wreath, whatever. Garland's close enough. I think, and there's a book about this where it talks about how technically nothing that is creative is actually original. Everything is a copy of a copy of a copy somewhere else. In this instance, I am copying Michael's. I have taken their idea of a garland they had of bows, and I decided to make it my own project. And it's not hard at all to do. I kind of basically looked at what they did and basically followed it. And what they did is they stitched through thread each piece together. And I kind of did that as well. So we'll see that in a second. We're not there yet because I'm still chatting away explaining the film that I'm watching. Honestly, I feel like we're watching me watch another film more than we're actually watching me work on this craft. If you're wondering why there is a rectangle there, I accidentally wore my work shirt in this angle. So here's what I end up going to. On all the edges of the bows, I frayed all of the fabrics just to make sure that they're not going to fray. I've learned this trick years ago. I don't always think it's the best one. Because sometimes it can get caught and it'll end up ripping anyway, but whatever. So here is me planning out how I want this, making sure that I want everything to be alternate. But since there isn't like a hard, this isn't a hard job to do, I just went in for it. I think I did do a quick planning at the beginning, but since it was so fast, you didn't really see it. So what I did is I first stitched in the pom-pom into the bow. Actually, that's not true. If I had a connector piece, like if I had a yellow and an orange, then I would stitch those. No, sorry. I need to remember what I did. I think what I did, and I'm sure whenever I decide to come back, we'll see that. But I put the thread through the bow. Then I continued to put it through the pom-pom and made sure that I made it nice and snug so that if there is allowed of movement, they can move, but to make sure that they wouldn't get loose. I wanted to make sure that I was getting a good amount of thread back and forth between the bow and the pom-pom. And then once I had, then I would attach the next bow. And then I would go through the bow and the pom-pom. Make sure that it sits properly between the two, but that there is enough gap for the pom-pom to come through. And I kind of just repeated that all the way through to make sure that when I hang this up, and if there's movement or it's swaying, it's not going to fall apart. So basically my importance was structural integrity as well as design overall to make sure that it still looked appealing. I wasn't sure while I was doing it, honestly, because I just saw the line of bows, but since I decided to add pom-poms to mine, I was like, is this like a little too much? Like, I was wondering if I'm doing a little too maximalist for the overall design, but overall, I was actually quite pleased with this. And once we end up seeing it hang up, which might be shortly, you can see how it worked. But I needed to make sure that the pom-poms were nicely fuzzy, because I noticed that the bag they came in were quite squished. So I just took in with my fingers and just kind of switched around the fibers to make sure that it was nice and puffy. Because I missed kind of the puffiness on the first one because I didn't think about fluffing up the pom-pom. And so then I had to go back in between the stitches, but it wasn't as movable when it was just in my hands, pre-stitching. So I just kind of did that beforehand before each pom-pom. Now coming up, in order to attach this, I came up with an idea. I don't think it's the best idea, but it is the one I had. In order to actually get this to hang up, what I did is I stitched like these necklace hook things, and you can see my wiring using that. So I used this very tiny wire that's in the shape of a hook, usually used for jewelry, and then I stitched that particular metal piece into the pom-pom so that there was a very tiny hook or a circular metal piece. And my idea was just to put that directly where a nail is. Again, I don't think this is foolproof, but it worked. So here is the final product. This is my kitchen area. And these are the bows hung up. It's not a very big job, but I think I did pretty well. So here is our next craft. We are working on something that I saw. Actually, I didn't see it anywhere. I just decided to do it. I saw this like candle holder and I was like, yeah, I could paint that. So this is me struggling for a good 20 minutes with the glue gun, trying to remove the sticker from the Dollar Tree, because these companies really love to make sure that their stickers stay. So here is what I decided to do. A very rough brush around the edges and kind of a fan downward motion. So it's really thick at the bottom, but it kind of fades out in a feathered motion to the top. And that was my plan, and I got some paint on my keyboard, of course. This is why you're not supposed to paint in front of your computer. And then the next project were these two particular skeleton hands that I found at the Dollar Tree that I wanted on my backyard for decoration. Not on my backyard. In my front yard, I should say. And they're going to go in front of some gravestones I made. So this is something I've been wanting to chat about for a while. I don't know if I'll have enough time to talk about it, but I'll quickly do it as fast as possible. When you buy these Dollar Tree skeleton hands, or skulls for that matter, it is quite easy to actually make them look like a more expensive prop. But what you want to do when you're painting these is not go in with very straight lines. Think about it this way. If we're in the wild, skeleton bones are not going to be perfectly straight with their lines. They're going to be kind of rough and edged around the creases. So that's kind of what I went with this. And then I also added some brown for some dirt. And then I sealed everything at some point, but I added a little bit of white. So here is the seal. I used Mod Podge. Which is like my go-to sealer, I guess. Probably because I don't have any other type of sealer, but maybe when I finish Audrey, I will use something else. But I wanted to make sure that this candle holder would actually stay with the paint. So I covered that one up, and then here I am going over the skeleton hands and the thumbs up piece for the outside, because I know it's gonna rain, and I don't want it to wash off this very cheap paint I got from the Dollar Tree. Even though it's glossy, but like, who cares, right? Like, whatever, as long as the color stays. There is like matte, Mod Podge. I know that, but like, I don't know. I'm not buying more Mod Podge if I already have this much Mod Podge. You know what I mean? Anyways, the nice thing is about Mod Podge is it actually dries quite clear. So even though it's like very white here, you can kind of see that the way it turned out was not like that. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sarah. I am the host of Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah's Spare Corner encompasses gaming, as well as arts, crafts, and various different forms of creativity. Additionally, I like sharing theories, concepts, and ideas, as I am a philosophy major, and when I'm not poor, I might travel places and I might post about it. If you have any thoughts, feelings about this video, if you think, wow, this was like the greatest thing I've ever seen, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any criticism, keep it to yourself. Anyways, if you have any questions about how to paint bones like that, I did consider making an extra video at some point to do something like that, but honestly, we are so further in the Halloween season. Maybe it's something I can do for next year. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. I hope that whenever you're watching this, that you have a lovely afternoon, evening, or morning, whenever you're watching this. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye now.